Greetings everyone, I am Thomas the Retro Nerd, reviewing the games good or bad. I'm just gonna let you down on some details. For the majority of the reviews this year, I'm gonna go back to the world of Mario in celebration of Super Mario Bros. 40th anniversary. This time it's with the Mario games from my childhood. Plus I would love to share the legacy Nintendo has built over the years. For today's review, I'm gonna start things off with a Yoshi game, Super Mario World 2, Yoshi's Island. Now, this game may be almost as old as I am, but I did have a lot of fond memories with this one. You'll see. In the words of former Nintendo of America President Satoru Iwata, video games are meant to be one thing: fun. If you remember my review of Super Mario World, I praised it for not only being a great launch title for the Super Nintendo, but also a great Mario game in general. It was also a great introduction to our pal Yoshi. A big thanks to Shigefumi Hino for designing the character. So, during the 90s, Nintendo tried to experiment with some spin-off games starring other characters. Heck, it worked for Wario when they made Wario Land, so it's only a matter of time, thanks to Yoshi's popularity, that meant that he would get the same treatment. He already got a couple puzzle games, which one of them was developed by Game Freak, plus a rail shooter with Yoshi Safari. It wasn't until 1995 that Super Mario World 2 Yoshi's Island would hit store shelves, for which Hino served as one of the directors for the game. Yeah, this game had 4 directors. While learning about this game, I noticed 2 things. The biggest one is the early prototype Super Donkey that has a similar art style to Yoshi's Island. Then there were the advertisements. Much like with Super Mario World, I grew up with the Game Boy Advance version. Originally, I remember the commercial back in 2002 with Yoshi throwing an egg at a car. But I know I'm glad I didn't grow up with the original ad on TV in the 90s with a guy eating so much he explodes. Yeesh! So, after that piece of 90s nightmare aside, let's take a look at Yoshi's Island and see why it still holds up today. We boot up the game and we start with the game's story. A stork is carrying 2 babies to their parents. Not the biggest lie that parents like to tell their kids. Suddenly, a magic Koopa by the name of Kamek comes out of nowhere and crashes into the stork, taking one of the babies. The other baby, falling from the sky, lands on the back of a nearby Yoshi, and it was revealed to be a baby Mario. This is a sign that this game serves as a prequel to the series, showing the origins of the Mario Brothers before they kick some Koopa ass. Later on, Kamek realized he only got one of the babies and sent out his entire toady army to snatch the other baby. Plot-wise, this is extremely different than the run-of-the-mill Mario saving Princess from Bowser plot. I like it. Yoshi's Island plays way different than your standard Mario game, while you do have to get to the end of the level. In contrast to Mario, you pick up speed in this game by holding left or right rather than having to hold a run button. While holding the B button to jump, Yoshi can do his new signature flutter jump, which gives him extra airtime to land safely. Another new addition to this game would have to be the ground pound. After jumping up and pressing down on the D-pad, Yoshi can ground pound enemies or pegs for some of those hidden goodies. This attack isn't really that useful and only works well specifically against the occasional bandits to get rid of them. However, the biggest addition to this gameplay is the ability to make eggs and throw them. Throwing eggs is the name of the game here. When Yoshi has an enemy in his mouth, you can press down on the D-pad to turn them into eggs and throw them at other enemies, question clouds, and various other things throughout the game. When throwing eggs, you can get a crosshair showing you what direction the egg is going to go horizontally. You can press the shoulder buttons to prevent it. Damage in this game works much differently. Yoshi himself, aside from the bottomless pits, lava, and spikes, is basically invincible. The thing that you do need to worry about is Baby Mario. Whenever Yoshi gets hit, Baby Mario will start floating in a bubble, and you only have 10 seconds to get him back before Kamek's cronies grab him. And hot damn do you want to get him back, because hearing him crying does get old really fast. Shut up! You can get more time on his timer by collecting stars throughout the level, which maxes out to 30. At the end of every level, in order to 100% this game, you need to have 30 stars on your countdown, find all 20 coins hidden throughout the level, and find all 5 flowers, which not only grants you an extra life, it also acts as a roulette at the end for bonuses. Sources say you can find red coins because of some red tint. However, sometimes I don't notice it myself. These bonus challenges can help you gain sub-items and extra lives. Most of them are around pure luck, and whenever I see Kamek mocking me, it makes me smack my forehead. Even in the middle of the levels have some sub-bonuses where you go up against a bandit. And let me just say this, I really hate these kinds of levels because it kind of feels like it was rigged for me to lose every time. The one tossing a balloon before it explodes is okay, I guess, but it also really feels like a game of chance. Mostly, these minigames are used for additional power-ups that Yoshi can use from the pause screen, as well as extra lives. Well, I'm just gonna have to say this. I don't try to go for 100% when playing this game past the second world. Yeah, I know, it unlocks secret levels whenever you 100% a world, and it's super challenging. But I feel like getting the 100% in this game does get tedious past World 2. And I just wanted to play the game to have fun. Because this game works much different than your standard Mario game, you of course have power-ups. But they work quite differently and are more situational in certain contexts. Like for example, the types of watermelons that Yoshi has access to. The standard green ones let Yoshi spit out seeds for a short time. The red ones let Yoshi spit out fire, that also works with some fire enemies. And the blue watermelon lets Yoshi spit out ice. But Mario himself, he also has a power-up in the form of a star that lets him run in parts of the level built around it, where Mario is invincible and runs around with a cape. Also new to this game would be the vehicle transformations. There's a helicopter, the digger mole, a car, a train, and a submarine. The vehicle sections do a good job adding variety to gameplay. Speaking of variety, the levels themselves are great in terms of design and have a lot of variety in terms of gameplay. For instance, in World 5-2, a lot of the level is platforming on a ski lift, and at the end of the level, Yoshi himself goes skiing. Or how about in World 1-7 or 4-1 or whatever you see a fuzzy. Whenever Yoshi touches a fuzzy, the world ends up getting distorted as if you were in Yoshi's perspective. Talk about an acid trip. Whether it's running away from a chain shop, eating the ground you're standing on, or riding a hot air balloon, this game has a ton of gameplay mechanics that constantly keeps the game feeling fresh and not repetitive.
Smash the clay pots to find the key.
This game has a total of 6 worlds with 8 levels. And every 4th and 8th level of every world, it's a castle-themed level with a boss at the end. Speaking of which, the boss battles are a whole different ball game here. Instead of fighting the Koopa Kids, Kamek will grow normal-sized enemies to giant size with his magic. And they're one of the best highlights of the game. Here's an example. One boss sees Yoshi shrunken down and inside the belly of a frog, having to hit the frog's uvula in order to get out. That is a face that speaks the Flying Frog! In World 5-8, the boss fight against Raphael the Raven takes place on the moon, and Yoshi has to ground pound the stumps in the ground in order to hit Raphael. One of my favorite boss fights had to be against Navel, the big piranha plant where you kill the boss before it even starts. Yeah, no joke. This is a fun thing you could do in this game. I also love the concept of how you actually fight him. I think as a whole, the bosses in this game easily outdo the older bosses in the older variety in terms of the way you fight them, and the different enemies in this game. Definitely an improvement over Super Mario World and Super Mario Bros. 3. This is also why I adore Kamek as a villain.
Kamek? Kamek? Are you done yet?
He's actually more active than others we've seen compared to Bowser and Wart. Finally, at the end of our journey, we're at the final level with the castle that happens to hold the other baby. But this isn't just any old castle, this is King Bowser's castle. Of course, they had to integrate Bowser in the plot somehow. As the level begins, Kamek would swoop in and try to attack you. If you survive, you enter a room with 4 options throughout the castle. Even with the variety, there's still a chance to 100% it. I went with door number 1, and in my opinion, I think it's the easiest one out of the 4. So after the last auto-scrolling segment, we get to the final room where Bowser Excuse me, what? Yeah, Bowser is also a baby in this game. When we first see him, he flattens Kamek like a pancake. God damn! I feel really bad for Kamek in this game. Him trying to babysit this brat of a king must have taken a toll on him.
Hey, I wanna ride the Yoshi.
The first part of the Baby Bowser fight isn't so difficult. Just hit the ground and shake it to hit Baby Bowser. Learning how he's acting, it matches his behavior throughout the franchise. But at a last-ditch effort to stop Yoshi, Kamek uses his magic on Baby Bowser, causing him to be gigantic. And in one of the coolest Mario boss fights, you fight a giant baby Bowser who approaches at you in gameplay that feels very 2.5D, where you throw eggs in the background to keep him from destroying the ruins of the now destroyed castle.
Headshot.
After you beat him, Yoshi finds baby Luigi and the stork from the beginning of the game, and the stork takes the two babies to the parents. And in a nice ending with a piece of music that brings a tear to my eyes, we've beaten Yoshi's Island. If I didn't make this obvious enough, this game is great. It not only stands the test of its time 30 years later, but it's just fun to pick up and play. Graphically, the game holds up super well. The art style, for one thing, has aged gracefully, looking like a storybook, but also in part thanks to the enhanced Super Effects Chip 2 in the cart. Characters are so expressive, like when Yoshi makes his face exiting the frog's belly, or the chain chomp that chips his tooth. The details, foreground and background, looked good back then, and they especially still look good today. This was a late Super Nintendo release in 1995, but this game shows that Nintendo learned how to use the hardware nicely, and it shows us how well games later off in their console's life tend to look better than earlier releases. Same with the music. Koji Kondo obviously killed it with a very tropical and upbeat feeling soundtrack that goes well with every level you hear the music in. Like I mentioned earlier, this game was also re-released for the Game Boy Advance in 2002 as part of the Super Mario Advance series. If you remember that video from 2 years ago, this is the version that I grew up with as a kid. The memories of those road trips with my parents while playing one of my favorite games helped out. Still sad that I lost my childhood copy, but I can still relive those memories thanks to the Wii U. Still a bit head-scratching that this is the only version released for the Virtual Console, but I'm not nitpicking here. To cut the story short, this is a great way to play this game. Aside from some of the games sounding different because it's on different hardware, and the red coins being hard to distinguish from the regular coins, this is still a great way to play the game. Sound-wise, they even added the Yoshi voice clips from Yoshi's story. It really adds to Yoshi's personality. So, in conclusion, either version is great, and this game is definitely worth experiencing not only with your love for Mario, but gaming as a whole, to see one of the best games Nintendo ever developed and published during the 16-bit era. So, when it comes to Yoshi's Island, this was the last mainstream Mario game to be released on the Super Nintendo, not counting Super Mario RPG because that's a role-playing game, I'm talking about platformers. Well, it wasn't until 1996 when the Nintendo 64 was launched and it began with one of the greatest games ever created. That'll be Super Mario 64. Yeah, I had a lot of nostalgic memories with this game, being the first mainstream Mario game I had growing up, and, well, I'll save that for next time. Until then, I am Thomas the Retro Nerd. Thank you all for watching. See you guys in the next review.